Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing very well. A few days ago we did this video. Could a 2020's US carrier group survive a huge Chinese missile boat swarm attack? We did it because our friend CH had made a new Chinese missile boat. Say hello CH.
Hello.
Now we're used to getting criticism in our videos in the viewer comments viewers, and we welcome that. It's what keeps us sharp and keeps us honest. But this one got loads of criticism, like more than any video I've ever done, and so I thought it would be a good idea to do a response video, by which I mean we go back and replay the battle, but as we do, we go through your main concerns or your main criticisms, viewers, and address them, and I hope it will be A, fun, and B, we can all learn something by it, especially me. So here we are in DCS. So I just want to prove that I'm using the original mission. I haven't changed anything. So mission editor open, and you can see we've got the dates on the right. 25th US CSG Chinese FAC fleet. That is the evening of that video. Off we go. I'm just going to get in and I'm going to set it going. The only difference is going to be that the first time we ran this, we ran it on CH's multiplayer server. This time it's going to be run on my machine, therefore it will be laggy. You will see lots of lag spikes. It doesn't really matter. It's more of a scientific video today. Okay, off we go. I'm going to quickly, I will do 3D views, but just while I'm getting things set up, I'm going to read off your complaints, viewers. In fact, I'm going to turn the sounds down so you can hear me. Complaint 1. 40 Chinese boats is too many. If you remember, we put 40 boats against the US carrier group. Completely agreed. China would never manage to get 40 together like this, and it is unrealistic. I get it, but we did it anyway. Agreed, CH?
I mean, yeah, it's possible. Didn't you run a Redstone Rising
well,
mission just with how many aircraft?
I was actually surprised about them. Tom Clancy knows his stuff, obviously, and I was, I mean, I don't know anything about Soviet doctrine. You know, it's just not my field, and I was amazed how many regiments of bombers were sent against that carrier strike group. So, all right, fine. I don't really know because I'm not Chinese.
There's supposed to be 8 of these per squadron. I mean, that's 5 squadrons. I mean, with the whole doctrine with these swarm attacks is actually by doing it like this. That's the whole point of it. So if they wouldn't do it like this, they would have another solution, I think.
I was just trying to sweet talk the viewers in that case. CH, you're just down. You just say it as it is. Complaint 2. I've not done all of your criticism, viewers, because there's too many, so I've taken the ones that come up again and again. Complaint 2. The boats would have been spotted by US before getting in firing range. This is something I do agree with. I'm just going to pause it here. So I've started the boats here at 80 nautical miles, viewers, about the maximum range of the missiles, and you guys said, hang on, they would never get that close to a US carrier strike group. I do agree with you there. Whenever a US strike group sails, it will have lots of AWACSs which can detect boats like this. They will have satellites which have IR sensors which can detect the heat of moving vessels. But to be honest, the more I'm learning about modern intel is that you can't hide anything anymore. Whenever boats or lots of boats move, someone somewhere catches it on their cell phone and uploads it to Facebook, and everyone knows you can't hide anything anymore. And so I agree, it would get spotted by something hundreds of miles out, and then the carrier strike group would send not Tomcats, Hornets out and blow it up. But I want them to fight, and I want the Chinese to fire, so I've ignored that. Are you happy with that one, CH, or do you disagree?
Absolutely. I mean, someone could mention that these are supposed to be pretty stealthy, but there has been a lot of criticism about their stealth capability, and I think have been rather debunked. They are not very stealthy, and there are a lot of them, as you mentioned, they would absolutely have been seen.
Roger. And the other thing is, boats, especially in calm waters, are really hard to hide, viewers. Let's say you've got a tiny little boat like this, let's say it's painted beautifully. It makes a massive wake that you can see from space. It's amazing how big boat wakes are. You just can't hide anything. It's just impossible. Anyway, viewers, let's not chew up any more of your time. Next, the biggest complaint from the viewers. Cap, you're an idiot. You didn't put AWACS in. Yes, I did. They've always been there, I just didn't zoom out far enough. Why have I put them so far away, viewers? It's because modern ships that I'm dealing with, that CH makes for us, have got such long firing range. I have to now put the AWACS like way out of vision. Now don't worry, it still works. It sees 300 miles. So that's not a problem, but I have to put it over 150 miles away because an SM6 would hit it otherwise. But they're there, and we would know they're not there because without them there, how are these harpoons being fired? That's what's guiding them in. How are these YJs being fired? That's what's guiding them in. So that's just a thing I'd like to correct to viewers. I'm going to unpause for a bit and have a sip of tea. Sorry about my voice today, viewers. I've got this horrible infection I can't get rid of, and I can't seem to get it fixed, and the doctor doesn't seem to be interested, but we'll do our best. Next, your comment was, well, I'm going to spoil it for you, viewers. What happens here, obviously, is the missiles go in and they break the defences. They win. They just start destroying the US ships. Why? Because there's so many, and because there's so many that come at once. And the main problem for the US vessels is it can't see them until they come over the horizon, which is about 13 miles. And by which time, if they're moving at 5... they are going... I found a problem. They're going too fast, CH. They're going 900 knots. I didn't notice that.
Well, that's a compromise. These actually have a terminal velocity within when their seekers are turned on. That is the correct speed, but they aren't traveling at that speed. I can only set one speed, as you know.
Actually, that would be accurate, because bearing in mind the US guys can only see them within 12 miles. That will be their terminal velocity. I didn't know that. I didn't know they could be supersonic. So do they have a variable engine in them?
Yeah.
Like I said, viewers, we're all learning. I was unaware of that, and it probably is the right way to model it. Right, sorry, I was saying, viewers, that the Blues can only see them once they're over the horizon at 12, 13 miles. By that time, if they're coming in at 900 knots, they've got seconds to destroy that 320 missiles. Nothing could do that. We'll talk about lasers later, but I don't think even lasers are going to be able to do it. So it's just an unbeatable thing. But your guys' follow-up was, hang on, Cap, surely the missiles don't have to be fired once these are just coming over the horizon. Surely the missiles could fire now and be guided in by the data link. Now, I didn't actually think that was possible, but now I'm thinking about it, I think it actually is possible. I'm going to pause it there again. Sorry, there's going to be lots of talking today, viewers, because that's what it's all about. SM6, which has a massive range of 150 odd miles, does that have its own radar sensor on it, CH?
Yeah, absolutely. It has different sensors. It's primarily guided by the semi-active, but it has the AIM 120 active radar homing seeker for the terminal piece of it. It also has the anti-ship capability, and the newer version 1B, which is not the one we have here, which is version 1, also has the GPS guidance for cruise missile capability. Right,
okay. Well, that's an error on my behalf then. So the SM6 can be fired over the horizon, guided by the E2, and hit a ship. We're happy with that, yeah?
Yeah, that's been tested, yeah.
And we can model that in game, viewers. I'll show it later if we remember to change it. The setup I've got the ships in at the moment, they won't have that ability, but I can change that. Right, now what about intercepting a missile then? Do we think, as the viewers say, an SM6 could be guided via data link to intercept over the horizon a missile at 50, 60 miles or something? Your thoughts on that, CH?
That's interesting. I mean, it's a completely different target than the ships. They are much smaller. They are traveling like 6 meters above the surface, very small RCS. I mean, they can absolutely be picked up. But yeah, it's interesting to see how that would work in real life. I mean, theoretically, it should work. I mean, but there is some sort of delay also between the AWACS and the missile, and these are very small and hard to hit targets. So I would think it would probably work, but not as well as firing at the larger ships.
Now, just to be clear here, viewers, we cannot do that in game. We cannot have a missile fired from a ship or from an aeroplane in game hit a missile that's over the horizon and guided by an AWACS. That tech is just not in there, even if it is in there in real life. So I can't do that. I can't have the SM6 shoot over the horizon in DCS. It has to have line of sight, and that's obviously, by the sounds of it, maybe a difference to real life. It's let me know your thoughts on that. Out of interest, we can have a missile from an aeroplane, let's say an A120D or a JTAM or something, fire against another aeroplane over the horizon and guided by a data link. That's something that CH has done. He's had to kind of fudge it to make it work, but it's our representation of it. So that works, but I can't get a missile to shoot down another missile over the horizon via data link. It's just not possible in the game. Are you happy with that, CH?
Yeah, it's not currently possible, but give me some time.
They also said, what about SM2? SM2, that is surely Fox 1 technology, no active radar, question mark?
Yeah, that's older technology.
Right, so SM2 exactly. definitely.
I haven't seen any evidence of that being guided by AWACS. The only evidence I've seen of this kind of guidance is the old AIM-54 and the SM6s.
And the final question is, they also said that the ESSM would be guided by data link, so by this Hawkeye here. and attack the missiles as well. Your thoughts on that? Have you ever heard of ESSM being used in that fashion, or has it always been point defense by fire control radar only?
It would definitely be possible. I mean, the kind of technology in the ESSM would, with the data link and all thing, it's with the new modern standard of it. But I haven't read anything about it. But it should, in theory, be possible.
Roger. Okay. Again, viewers, fine, but we can't do that for the reasons I've said. Right. Next, number 5. ESSM wasn't firing. Now, this one, yeah, I get it. ESSM is their main weapon for anti-swarm. SM6 is not for anti-swarm. SM2 is not for anti-swarm. ESSM is for anti-swarm. That's why they can pack 64 of them in there and are moderately cheap. So it should fire them. Let's see if it doesn't. And if it doesn't, let's try and understand why. So let's watch these guys come over the horizon. Which way is it? That way. Bearing in mind the sensors are quite high on these ships, so it will see them about... Okay, stop there. Just out of interest, when did it see them? Okay, 14 nautical miles, which sounds perfectly reasonable with the curvature of the Earth. And
yeah.
And what missiles did it send? It sent SM2 and SM2. And why not? It's a cheap missile, not an LGB. At this range, it'll be just as good as an SM6 or anything else. But no SSMs. Let's watch again, viewers. There'll be lots of pausing today. If you don't like pausing, this is not the video for you. I'll just let a few go out. I mean, the rate of firing is brilliant. Now, if you look at the CPU counter on the left, viewers, that shows that I'm spiking the CPU. I'm just not powerful, quite powerful enough to run this. SM2, SM2, SM6. Yep, fair enough. Let's watch a bit here. So, now the interesting thing about this, viewers, is whenever, I'm going to say me, but it's mainly CH, makes these mods, he can't actually control what they do. He makes what we call a static declaration. That is, he tells the DCS core game what his ship or plane is going to be at the beginning, and then that's it. Once the mission starts, he can't touch it. At that point, it's all controlled by core game engine. Oh, there's one, look. Core game engine.
Yeah, and I should mention also what I can control is their deployment limitations or parameters. They must remain inside. So I mean, if for example we don't see an SM3s being fired because I have set parameters for something be a very high altitude for them to be fired.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not even going to do that. Excuse me. Interestingly, one ESSM has been fired. Look, it's amazing the rate that is firing at, viewers. Have you seen the rate these things are firing at? It is beggars belief how many missiles. Look at that. Zap, 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 zap. Like 1 a second or something, that must be averaging. More than 1 a second. That really is amazing. But you're right, viewers, there's almost no ESSMs out, and I don't know why. It's probably... Any idea why it's not using them?
I would guess it has to do... I mean, it looks at the parameters it has for the weapons it have, and I think it's going for the longer range stuff, even if it doesn't really need it. I think it will start a lot of the time with the longer range stuff and save the shorter range stuff.
Roger. And here's an interesting thing. On your machine, didn't the first batch get through? This is the same mission being run with everything identical, same mods, same everything, viewers. And
yeah, you never know exactly how it will play out.
Now, there's one difference. We are running different CPUs. Mine's a 5900. What was yours? A 5800?
It's a 10700K Intel.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, we are running different CPUs. That's the thing. Okay, I've already got the next one lined up in that case. So it looks like they probably will get through, viewers, looking at it. Next, Seawiz isn't firing. You guys said Seawiz should stop these. And absolutely, it should be a goalkeeper. I'm going to have to look at the Seawiz on here. Oh, no. Look, it's aiming. It's aiming, viewers. Let me just make sure I've got the right boat. It's ship, sorry.
But we should mention also, I think sometimes in these videos, a lot of people think they are not firing because you can't see the traces. You have seen all the older ships with all the tracers, but the new ammunition they're using don't use tracers.
Right, so these could be firing and the viewers just don't even see it, right, in the modern vessels. Out of interest for viewers, you can see the fire control radars all aimed at the targets. I'm just going to watch from here and see what happens, viewers. It's aiming. It's aiming. Yeah, it is. I can see it's firing. Stop. It's firing. It 100% is firing. So it is firing, viewers. Yeah. It is that it's got no tracers. You don't see it. All you see is the splashes. Wow. And kudos to the game doing so well. It's running no FPS at the moment because it's way overloaded at the moment. Look at that missile. Look how big that standard missile is. That's beggars belief how big that is. Yeah, it's an SM6, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. So, viewers, it is firing. Is it going to hit every time it fires? No. Will it hit most of the time? Yes. Here's a thing Seawiz is great, viewers, and it's almost, its PK will be brilliant, but...
but Seawiz are going out of fashion, we should mention that.
Yep, absolutely. And one complaint I've got with it, is it fires and it shoots something down. Then it has to reset, wait, get a new target, and then kind of reset and do all that stuff. So it's a couple of seconds before it can aim at the next target. So it's crap at anti-swarm. People tend to think it just kind of lasers the whole sky, doesn't it? Shoots one target, sits, stops, resets, go for it. So it's a bad anti-swarm weapon. Do you agree with that, CH?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also why we're seeing a lot of navies getting rid of them, and they are being replaced with larger calibers with fragmentation that you shoot at much longer ranges that will fragment in the air and take down the threat.
Have you got, are you talking larger caliber, like 5-inch gun or something else?
Yeah, we're talking like 40 or 57 millimeter.
Roger. Where would that be mounted? Somewhere maybe where this Bushmaster is, or?
Yeah, and on the smaller ships it's mounted, in the front also.
That's an interesting
But we see more and more of them now, and less Seawiz.
We'll never be able to do that because we don't have intelligent ammo.
Exactly. I have done a lot of testing on that, and it's hard to get it working.
The next viewer comment is, nukes should be used, and it's a bit of a silly comment, but I thought we'd just talk about it anyway. And actually, I don't know. I mean, would firing a nuke of some kind in this swarm to destroy the swarm of missiles? Yes. Is there any doctrine for a modern anti-swarm nukes? Not that I'm aware of, CH. There's no nuclear missiles that they fire, unless I've missed something, which I don't think I have.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a very unconventional solution.
Now, interestingly, it's actually a solution in the 1950s. In the 1950s, before guided weapons were a thing, but they were pretty terrible. And so if Soviet swarm was even a thing back then, so they would have Genie rockets and stuff, which are just unguided rockets, which would be fired via radar, kind of guided via radar, fired, and it would have a small nuclear warhead in, and it would shoot all of the 1950s, 1960s Soviet missiles down. You're aware of that, aren't you? Because you guys had it in the J-35, I think you guys had. That. Yeah, so that's the thing, but not anymore, viewers. It's precision nowadays, all right? Final comment on this one, viewers. A final complaint was direct energy weapons should be used. This is I think this means lasers. I'm aware lasers are a thing, and in some cases are actually, I think, being used in combat. But my understanding, and I'm always happy to be wrong, is that there are no American frontline vessels with direct energy weapons on that are ready for use. Is that your understanding, or am I wrong as usual?
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of testing going on right now, but as one might guess, it takes a lot of power. So you have to have the newer ships that can generate the kind of power. But that will probably, if everything works out as intended, be the future for taking down these kind of swarms in the Seawiz context. That is, I mean, we would have to look at this in layers or stages. I mean, the first stage here would have been to thin out the herd. I mean, using, for example, the SM-6s as anti-ship weapons to get maybe half of the 40 to fire their missiles, and then thin it out on the way with the guided SM-6 to take more of them out, and then you have the Seawiz. And if you would have had lasers or energy weapons there, it would have done pretty good, I think, with a lot of taking care of the last ones that go through.
Yeah, Roger, fair comment. Right, that answers all your questions. Before I let this run riot, viewers, I'm just going to recap your questions. 1, Chinese boats is too many. I sort of agree. CH disagrees. 2, the boats would have been spotted before getting into firing range. Yep, you're right. 3, AWACS wasn't present. You're wrong. It is present. 4, AWACS can guide SM-6, ESSM, and SM-2. SM-2, no. SM-6, yes. Could it guide an SM-6 against missiles? We're not sure. I don't know if anyone's really sure. ESSM, yes, it can be guided against ships and stuff, but can it be guided against missiles over the horizon? We're not sure. That's a tough one. ESSM wasn't firing. Yes, it was, but it also wasn't really, and we're not 100% sure why.
Let's just clarify on the ESSM. We can see ESSM are actually working, but it's already firing all the missiles with how should I put it?
I got it. So what I think CH is about to say is, you guys think that infinite missiles can be fired off at once, but that can't happen. There's a set number of channels that a modern ship can, it's a set number of missiles that each ship can have in the air at once. So we can't send out 64 missiles all at once. It can send out 12 or 8 or however many channels that particular ship's got. So there's no advantage of using, and yes, apart from cost, and that's fair enough. But yeah, so there's nothing to add to the equation because you can't have extra missiles in the air. That's what you're going to say, right?
Exactly, and they would also want to risk collisions. I mean, you can't fire them with a millisecond delay between each other. It would be extremely dangerous. Just look at test firings; they are waiting minutes before the next one.
Really good comment by CHN. I've just looking at the Mark 41 VLS the other day. These are Mark 41s, aren't they? Yeah. You can't just send them out, zam, 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 like that. I mean, you could, but they would blow themselves up. The flame from one missile would shoot into, I don't know the specifics, but it would shoot into the hatch of another one that was about to go, and it just wouldn't work, would it? So you can only have a certain RPM of firing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Seawars wasn't firing? Wrong. It was firing. Nukes could be used, whatever, fine. Direct energy weapons could be used, well, kind of, but also not, because they're clearly not ready in real life. Right, I'm going to run it through now, viewers, and presumably we're going to get the same thing as last time, and go! Yeah,
that's what I like with these games. You never know how it will end.
It always works out different. There's so many factors. And to be fair to the game viewers, there's a lot being modelled here. And you can see every time it stops for you, that's because we've overloaded the CPU. Will that make a difference when it overloads the CPU? Absolutely. Stuff breaks down. Me and CH have to worry about this all the frigging time. Oh yeah, it's got through again. Don't worry about it going up and down like that. It's just a glitch. It won't make any difference. Yeah, it's the same result. It's exactly the same result. Yeah, so that's fine. Right, so that's everything there answered, viewers. I hope that clears a lot of that stuff up. There's one more. I'm just going to pause it there. Obviously, exactly the same is going to happen. There's one more I wanted to look at, because while we're here, we might as well just talk about it. I'm sure CH will be able to put his 2 cents in. I've just got to find it. So what you got here is 1970s Tomcat versus for the sake of argument, 2020's Tomcat. The old ones carrying a 1970s long-range AIM-54 Phoenix. The modern ones carrying a 2020's AIM-120D AMRAAM. The planes themselves, I know they would have been different, but for all intents and purposes are pretty much the same. The missiles were the difference, and I kind of knew this was going to happen. Both missiles, although 50 years in between them, have the same range, about 90 miles, against fighter-sized targets. So that's interesting. They both have about the same speed. The Phoenix is faster to begin with, but the AMRAAM catches up later on, so they'll get there at about the same time as well. They go about the same height, blah, 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 blah. But there's one real big difference. Well, A, the AMRAAM is a modular modern system, and it's 7 times as cheap, inflation adjusted. So, but the most important thing is it has a data link unit in it. A true Link 16 data link in it. AIM-54 does not. It means that when the F-14B fires this missile at 90 miles, it cannot turn away until the missile turns its own radar on 10 miles away from the target, at which point it then can turn around. This guy, however, can fire its missile, and as soon as it's off the rail, he can turn away. He does not need to keep a radar track, and that's because it has a Link 16 data link system on the missile, and it can be tracked exclusively via an AWACS. And that's what I was trying to show you. And hey presto, we ran it. And of course, the ST-21 won for the reasons that I just said.
That's an interesting argument there, because you managed to find the only exception, because the AIM-54 was the only one that could actually be guided by AWACS.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right. That's kind of embarrassing, but I'm going to leave it in. Let me just finish my spiel anyway, and then you can correct me. I didn't realise that. I've read through the Hebler manual and everything. I just didn't realise it. Right. Anyway, I was going to say, viewers, that obviously there's 3 stages of missile. There's the burn to height, there's the mid course, and then there's the terminal phase. The mid course, which is 90% of the missiles travel, obviously at 90,000 feet or whatever. I thought until 5 seconds ago that the AIM-54 could only be guided in by the aircraft it was frequency linked to, which would be the radar on the F-14. Hence what I was talking about earlier. Whereas
but I should mention, I don't know if it actually was used. I know it was tested.
Well, that's fair.
And I read about it, but we don't know if it was used in real life.
Wait. Oh, so what? It looks like I may have been wrong, viewers. Now, in-game, should I say, it works as I've said. It can only be guided via the radar that it's frequency matched to. It can't be guided by anything else. From what CH is saying, it very possibly could have been guided by the data link, which is fair enough. Yeah. In which case, man, what a missile. for 50-year-old missile, right?
Exactly. And I think we will see a lot more of this guiding stuff. I mean, for example, I read that the SM-6s have been guided very well by F-35s because they are more advanced than the AWACS for guiding this kind of missiles with a newer technology. So I think we will see a lot of guidance between them in the future.
Now, at that point, unfortunately, viewers, you've pushed us too far. A lot of you are now requesting Cap using Raptor or an F-35 near the bad guys to guide in someone else's missile. Unfortunately, we can't do that in game. We can do it via an AWACS, but we can't do that. I've learned a lot today, CH. I hope we've addressed all the viewers' comments as well, and I hope they're happy with that. Okay, bye-bye.